Welcome back to Science Corner, ready for another deep dive. This time, we're buzzing about Karl von Frisch and his amazing work on, you guessed it, bees.
Oh, von Frisch, he was a pioneer. Really revolutionized how we understand animal behavior, especially in insects.
Absolutely. And, most people know about the waggle dance, but his discoveries go way beyond that. We've got a stack of his research, biographical info, all sorts of stuff.
One of the things that always fascinates me about von Frisch is how he didn't just focus on the dances, but on how bees experience the whole world, their senses.
Yeah. I dove into his work on bee senses. And it's incredible. Like, did you know that their sense of taste for sweetness isn't actually that much better than ours?
It's true. It seems counterintuitive, right? You'd think they'd have these super taste buds for all that nectar, but really they're more tuned into subtle differences in sugar concentration.
So it's about finding the most, nutritious nectar sources, not just sweetness.
Exactly. It's all about efficiency for those busy bees.
And what about their vision? I know they can see color, but isn't it different from how we see?
Oh, absolutely. Von Frisch did some really clever experiments to prove that bees can see color. He trained them to associate colored cards with sugar water.
So, if they pick the blue card, they got a treat.
Pretty much. And they consistently chose the color that meant a reward. But here's the really wild part. Bees can also see ultraviolet light, which is totally invisible to us humans.
Whoa. So they're seeing a whole world of colors and patterns on flowers that we can't even imagine.
Exactly. It's mind-blowing, right? And this UV vision helps them zero in on the flowers with the most pollen, the ones that reflect UV light the strongest.
It makes you wonder what their world looks like. All those extra colors we can't see.
It must be incredibly vibrant. Okay, so we've talked about smell, taste, color vision. What about navigation? Everyone knows bees use the sun to find their way, but how do they do it on cloudy days?
Yeah, that was a big question for von Frisch, too. And you know what? He found out they have this backup system. Polarized light. Even on a cloudy day, there's this polarized light in the sky that bees can detect.
So even when the sun's hiding, they can still kind of figure out where it is?
Exactly. They have a built-in filter for polarized light. It's incredible. But what if it's a totally overcast day? No sun, weak polarized light, what then?
Well, von Frisch discovered they have another trick up their sleeve. They can sense the Earth's magnetic field.
No way. So
Yeah.
they've got the sun, polarized light, A and D, a magnetic compass, like a triple navigation system. That's unbelievable.
Unbelievable but true, and totally necessary for bees that fly miles from their hive. They need to find their way back. Even after visiting all those flowers, it's like they have a mental map of the whole landscape.
Amazing. Okay, so we've covered a lot about bees, senses, and navigation. But we can't talk about von Frisch without talking about the waggle dance, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's where he really made his mark. Everyone's heard about it, but I think a lot of people, myself included, don't really get the specifics of how it works.
Right. How does a dance actually tell other bees where to find food? It sounds almost like science fiction, right?
It really is remarkable. Imagine you're a bee who's just found this amazing patch of flowers bursting with nectar. You got to tell your hive mates, but you can't exactly send them a text.
Yeah, they need a way to share that info quickly and accurately.
Exactly. And that's where the waggle dance comes in. But it's not just one dance. There's actually two main types, the round dance and the waggle dance. The round dance is for when the food is pretty close, within 100 meters of the hive.
So it's hey, everyone, good stuff nearby, come and get it.
Precisely. But when the food is farther away, that's when the waggle dance takes center stage. And that one, it's a figure-8 pattern with this straight waggle run in the middle.
I've seen videos. It's like they shimmy back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not random at all. Picture a bee on a honeycomb inside the hive. The angle of her waggle run, compared to straight up, matches the angle of the food source from the sun. It's like their own sun compass.
Oh, so if she waggles straight up, food's towards the sun.
You got it. And if she waggles to the left, the food's the same angle to the left of the sun. It's genius.
Okay, that's the direction. But how do they figure out the distance? How far away to fly?
That's where the length of the waggle run comes in. The longer the waggle, the farther the food. But here's the mind-blowing part. The speed of the waggle is actually the opposite of the distance. So the farther away the food, the slower the waggle.
Wait, so a slow waggle means it's far away. That's so counterintuitive.
I know. It's like their way of saying, hey, it's a long flight, but it's worth it.
To like a bee GPS. So are all waggle dances the same? Or do different bees have different dances?
That's a great question. And it leads to another one of von Frisch's amazing discoveries. While he mostly studied carniole and honeybees, he found that other types of bees actually have, like, different dialects of the dance language.
Bee dialects. So the main idea is the same, but like the details of how they communicate distance and direction are different.
Exactly. Like some species might use a slightly different angle system or different waggle speed for a certain distance. It shows that even in the insect world, communication isn't like one size fits all.
It's like finding out that different ant colonies have different ant languages.
Yeah.
So cool. It makes you wonder how those dialects developed and what other variations are out there.
Absolutely. There's still so much to learn about bee communication. But von Frisch, he really opened the door to all this research with his work on the waggle dance. He showed us how complex and sophisticated insect communication can be.
It's incredible. It really makes you appreciate these little creatures, their intelligence, their adaptability. So we've talked about the waggle dance, their senses, their navigation, all amazing. What else did von Frisch discover about bees?
Well, his work went beyond just the dances. He dove into the world of pheromones. You know those chemical signals that play such a huge role in how the hive works, the social order?
Oh yeah, like the queen bee releasing pheromones to like control the hive.
Yeah.
But how does that work? Is it like chemical communication?
Exactly. It's like an invisible web of communication. The queen's pheromones attract drones for mating. They stop other queens from developing. They even tell worker bees what jobs to do. It's amazing.
So it's not just about finding food, it's about the whole structure of the hive, the division of labor, all controlled by pheromones.
Exactly. Von Frisch really opened our eyes to how these insect societies function, and he
Yeah.
did it all through careful observation and clever experiments, often with simple tools. It's really impressive.
It shows you don't need fancy equipment to make groundbreaking discoveries, just a curious mind and a passion for understanding nature.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And his work has inspired so many other scientists to keep exploring animal communication and behavior.
It's a great reminder that sometimes the most profound discoveries come from observing the smallest creatures with an open mind. And speaking of discoveries, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the bigger picture. Why should we care about how bees communicate? What's the takeaway for us?
That's a great question, and I think there are a few layers to the answer. On one level, von Frisch's work showed us that even creatures with tiny brains can be capable of incredibly complex communication and social structures.
It challenges our ideas about the limits of animal intelligence.
Absolutely. And beyond just understanding animal behavior, his work has practical applications too. By understanding bee communication, we can become better beekeepers, protect bee populations, and ensure that our crops are pollinated.
So it's not just about scientific curiosity. It's about conservation, agriculture, appreciating how interconnected everything is.
Exactly. And, you know, on a more philosophical level, I think von Frisch's work reminds us of how connected all living things are.
By studying bees, we learn more about the whole web of life and our place in it.
Beautifully put. It makes you realize that every creature, no matter how small, has a story to tell, a role to play.
It's a powerful message.
It really is.
Well, I think that's a great place to pause for now. We've covered so much ground already, but we're not done yet. There's more to explore in the world of Karl von Frisch. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back after a quick break. Okay, so we're back and ready to dive even deeper into von Frisch's work, and I think the next logical step is to talk about, well, maybe the thing he's most famous for, the waggle dance.
The waggle dance, yes, absolutely. I think for a lot of people, it's kind of this mysterious thing. Like, how can a dance actually communicate information?
Right. It seems almost unbelievable. But von Frisch was able to prove it. And it wasn't just a hunch or observation. He did actual experiments to decode it.
He was really meticulous, you know. He wanted to understand exactly how it worked. And what he found was, well, it's not just one dance. It's actually like a system of dances.
Right, like a whole dance language.
Exactly. And there are two main dances, the round dance and, of course, the waggle dance. The round dance is the simpler one. It's what bees use when the food source is pretty close to the hive, like within 100 meters or so.
So it's basically like saying, hey, everyone, there's good stuff nearby.
Exactly. But when the food is farther away, that's when they break out the waggle dance. And that one is a lot more complex. The figure-8 pattern with this straight run in the middle where they, waggle their bodies.
I've seen videos. It's pretty mesmerizing to watch.
Yeah.
But how does that tell other bees where to go?
So imagine a bee standing on a vertical honeycomb inside the hive. The angle of her waggle run compared to straight up, that angle represents the direction of the food source relative to the sun.
So it's like using the sun as a compass.
Precisely. It's a sun compass. If the bee waggles straight up, the food is in the direction of the sun. If she waggles, say, 30 degrees to the right, the food is 30 degrees to the right of the sun.
Wow, that's amazing. It's like built-in GPS.
Yeah.
But how do they communicate the distance? Like how far away to fly?
That's where the duration of the waggle run comes in. The longer the waggle, the further the food source is. But here's where it gets really interesting. The speed of the waggle is inversely related to the distance. So the farther away the food, the slower the waggle.
Wait, so a slow waggle means it's a long way away. That seems kind of backwards.
It does, doesn't it? But it works. It's like they're saying, hey, this is a long flight, but it's worth it. There's tons of delicious nectar out there.
So it's not just a distance code. It's also like a measure of how good the food source is.
Exactly. And remember, all of this is happening inside a dark hive, so the other bees can't see the sun directly. They're relying entirely on the waggle dance to get this information.
It's just mind-blowing. Okay, so we've talked about the round dance and the waggle dance. Are all waggle dances the same? Or do different bees have different dialects, so to speak?
That's a great question, and it brings us to another fascinating discovery of von Frisch. You see, he mostly worked with carniolan honeybees, which are a specific type of honeybee, but he found that other types of bees actually have their own variations of the waggle dance.
Bee dialects. Seriously.
Seriously. It's not that the whole dance is different, but the details of how they communicate distance and direction can vary from one species to another.
So like one species might use a slightly different angle system or a different waggle speed for a certain distance.
Exactly. It's a reminder that communication, even in the insect world, isn't one size fits all. There's this amazing diversity in how they've adapted their communication to their specific needs and environments.
That's so cool. It's like finding out that different groups of chimpanzees have different ways of communicating or different birds have different songs.
Exactly. And it opens up so many more questions for researchers to explore. How did these dialects evolve? What other variations might exist out there? There's still so much to learn.
Well, I think von Frisch really paved the way for all this research with his groundbreaking work on the waggle dance. He didn't just show us that bees can communicate. He showed us how complex and nuanced their communication can be.
Absolutely. He opened up a whole new world of understanding when it comes to insect communication.
And it makes you realize just how much we still don't know about the natural world, even something as seemingly simple as a bee dance.
It's true. There's always more to discover, more to learn, and I think that's what makes science so exciting.
Well said. So we've covered the waggle dance, but von Frisch's work with bees didn't stop there. He also did some fascinating research on pheromones, those chemical signals that play such a vital role in the hive.
Pheromones. Oh, yes, they're absolutely crucial to how a bee colony functions. You know, people often think about the queen bee releasing pheromones to, like, control the hive, but it's actually so much more than that.
Right, I remember reading about that. But how does it actually work? Is it like a form of chemical communication?
Exactly. It's like an invisible language that they use to communicate with each other. The queen bee's pheromones, they do all sorts of things. They attract drones for mating, they prevent other worker bees from developing into queens, and they even help regulate the hive's activities, like telling the worker bees when to forage for food or when to build new honeycomb.
So it's not just about the queen giving orders. It's more like a complex system of signals that helps keep the entire colony running smoothly.
Exactly. And von Frisch was one of the first scientists to really delve into this world of pheromonal communication in bees. He showed us just how important these chemical signals are for the social structure and functioning of the hive.
It's incredible. It's like they have this whole other layer of communication going on that we can't even see or smell.
It really is, and it just goes to show how much complexity and sophistication there is in the insect world, even in creatures as tiny as bees.
And I think it's important to remember that von Frisch made all of these discoveries, not with fancy high-tech equipment, but through careful observation, creative experiments, and a deep passion for understanding the natural world.
Absolutely. He was a true pioneer in the field of animal behavior, and his work continues to inspire scientists today.
It's a reminder that sometimes the most groundbreaking discoveries come from simply paying attention to the world around us and asking the right questions. And speaking of questions, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'd love to get your thoughts on the bigger picture here. Why should we care about how bees communicate? What's the takeaway for us as humans?
That's a great question. And I think there are several layers to the answer. On one level, von Frisch's work challenges our assumptions about the limits of animal intelligence. Here we have these tiny creatures with brains smaller than a pinhead, capable of incredibly complex communication and social organization.
It makes you realize we might be underestimating the intelligence of a lot of animals.
Exactly. And beyond expanding our understanding of animal behavior, von Frisch's work has practical applications too. By learning how bees communicate, we can improve our beekeeping practices, protect bee populations, and ensure the pollination of our crops, which is crucial for our food supply.
So it's about conservation, it's about agriculture, it's about appreciating the interconnectedness of all living things.
It's all of that. And on a more philosophical level, I think von Frisch's work reminds us of the incredible beauty and complexity of the natural world and our place within it. By studying the intricate communication systems of bees, we gain a deeper appreciation for the diversity and wonder of life on Earth.
And that's a powerful message, I think.
It really is.
Well, I think that's a great place to pause for now. We've covered a lot of ground today. We've talked about the waggle dance, pheromones, the amazing sensory abilities of bees, and so much more. And yet, there's still more to explore in the world of Karl von Frisch. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back after a quick break. Wow, we've really gone deep into the world of Karl von Frisch and bee communication today. It's incredible to think about how much we've learned from this one scientist's work.
It really shows the power of curiosity, how one person's fascination with a tiny creature can lead to these huge discoveries that change our understanding of the whole natural world.
Absolutely. And it makes you wonder, how much more is there to discover?
Oh, I think we just scratched the surface. There are so many other animals with these complex communication systems that we're only beginning to understand, like dolphins, whales, birds, even cephalopods like octopuses. They all have these intricate ways of communicating that we're still trying to decipher.
Like there's this whole symphony of animal communication happening all around us, but we're only just starting to hear the music.
Exactly. And it's not just about satisfying our curiosity either.
Mhm.
Understanding animal communication could have these really important real-world implications. Like, imagine if we could figure out how to communicate with bees more effectively. We could maybe help them even more with things like, finding the best food sources or avoiding danger.
And protect them better from things like habitat loss and pesticides.
Exactly. It could be a huge step forward for conservation efforts.
It makes you realize how important it is to keep asking questions, keep exploring, keep trying to understand the world around us, just like von Frisch did.
And I think there's another important takeaway from von Frisch's work. It's that we're all connected. Humans, bees, dolphins, all of us, we're all part of this intricate web of life.
And we need to understand and respect that web if we want to keep it healthy.
Precisely. So the next time you see a bee buzzing around, don't just think of it as, a nuisance or something to be afraid of.
Yeah.
Take a moment to appreciate its amazing abilities, its complex communication, its vital role in our ecosystem.
It's a reminder that even the smallest creatures can have a huge impact on the world around us.
Well said. And I think that's a great note to end on.
Yeah, I think so too. So thank you so much for joining us on Science Corner today and for sharing your expertise on Karl von Frisch and the amazing world of bee communication.
It was my pleasure.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. We hope you learned something new and that you're feeling inspired to keep exploring the wonders of the natural world. Until next time, stay curious.